You were accused of sexual harassment. You stated on the time you probably did simply nothing incorrect. Do you stand by way of that? I do. Bill O'Reilly became once the king of cable news. This night is the host of the primary cable information show in America for 15 years. Jogging, please welcome Bill O'Reilly, a legend who ruled primetime like debates and award shows alike. He constructed an empire on controversy that captivated millions every night. But in the back of the intense smile and assured persona was a typhoon of allegations, anger, and unraveling relationships that could eventually deliver his reign crashing down and inflicting him to begin throughout at age 75. How does a person at the pinnacle of power lose all of it? And where is he now? Live with us as we find the upward thrust and stunning fall of Bill O'Reilly. Permits dive-in rise of a unique career. To apprehend the severity of a person's downfall, you want to first apprehend how excessive he were. Given Bill O'Reilly's upward push in the world of journalism and television is a classic underdog tale, a younger man from humble beginnings who turned into fueled through ambition, curiosity, and a knack for telling a good story. From an early age, Bill seemed to have a fervor to learn. Lawan Beery, the arena around him. After high faculty, he went to Marist College, a small liberal arts college in Pippi, New York. It became right here that he started out to develop his hobby in storytelling. Bill wasn't only a bookworm buried in instructional research. He performed soccer, worked on the school paper, and started out honing the pointy critiques that could later define his profession. After Marist, he didn't just forestall there, he pursued a master's diploma in broadcast journalism at Boston University. This changed into a time while the industry turned into evolving with television, information gaining popularity and impact. For someone like Bill, this became the suitable possibility. He learned the ropes of journalism, gaining the abilities he had to write compelling memories and gift them with self-assurance by means of. Now he had his eyes firmly set on becoming a first-rate player in the enterprise. However, lifestyles in no way went in accordance to plot, and you would not believe in which existence took him next. Bill's first jobs in television were not glamorous, but they have been critical to his growth. He labored as a reporter and anchor for small stations, hopping from one city to every other in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and later in Dallas, Texas. His early gigs were where he honed his capability to take complicated testimonies and destroy them down into pieces that the common viewer should without difficulty apprehend. There was no ego approximately him, then just a starvation to prevail. As his experience grew, so did his ambition. Bill started out to land larger and higher jobs, subsequently shifting as much as major markets like Denver, Hartford, and Portland. Each city delivered its own set of demanding situations, but Bill approached all of them with the equal dedication and grit. He had a knack for making testimonies feel immediate and applicable, and his persona started out to polish through on display. Visitors liked him. He turned into enticing, confident, and had a way of making even the driest subjects feel exciting. The turning point got here when he joined CBS News as a correspondent. This was a primary leap, giving him the threat to cover national and worldwide testimonies. Bill didn't shy away from the tough assignments he suggested on conflicts in El Salvador and the Fallon Islands, placing himself inside the center of the motion. But now, the authorities, infantrymen have driven the rebels out of town and into the mountains. The insurgents left at the back of these studies, not simplest, added to his credibility, however. Also helped him broaden a commanding presence. His reviews have been sharp, insightful, and frequently carried a feel of urgency that made humans sit up straight and pay interest. But it became his circuit to ABC News and, later, the syndicated program Inside Edition that truly started to make him a household name. On Inside Edition, Bill's personality took center stage. He wasn't simply reporting the information, he was handing over it with a punch. His formidable noon style resonated with viewers who wanted extra than just the facts. They desired a person who should hook up with them, whatever it is. It's now not right on a teleprompter. I do not know what that is. I've by no means visible that note. We're going to do sting. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I cannot examine it. There is no phrases on it, whether he turned into overlaying difficult hitting investigative stories or lighter human hobby pieces. He added an undeniable strength to the display screen. Then got here the big destroy that could define his profession. The O'Reilly Factor on Fox News. This wasn't only a display, it was a phenomenon. Bill had ultimately observed the perfect platform to fully express his precise combination of journalistic instincts, sharp opinions, and charisma. The show wasn't approximately turning in the news in a conventional experience. It turned into approximately dissecting it, debating it, and challenging viewers to suppose seriously people both loved him or disagreed with him passionately. However, both way they could not stop watching. He had this capability to interact viewers. Wasn't just about his arguments. It became also approximately how he provided them. Bill had a conversational fashion that felt non-provoked. He wasn't just talking at you, he became talking to you. Are you as irritated as I am tonight? We've got acknowledged different, a long time. We've included a whole lot of this kind of stuff. I am so deserted. And then, in that same excerpt, to help make the talking heads much better, angry about this verdict, frequently directly into the camera as in case you had been sitting proper across from him. That sort of connection made him one of the most recognizable and influential figures in TV news. His catchphrases, just like the spin stops right here, have become part of the cultural lexicon, further cementing his legacy. Locate this night the thing tip of the day, Waters Miller. And at an exquisite time in Omaha, Tacoma, Washington lately. In reality, I'd actually love to do more spin-offs here live, suggests around the USA, but I'm just too busy through all of it. Bill O'Reilly's upward push become marked by using his relentless drive, his willingness to take risks, and his potential to evolve to the ever-changing media panorama from neighborhood newsrooms to the pinnacle of cable TV. His journey turned into something, however, that will take us further from both East and West, where he will seem to have reached a sky limit of advancement. It's time for me to go, and it's time for Billy. Normal you are, in all likelihood wondering in which matters went incorrect for him. Properly maintained, looking to locate, discover, starting of downfall. The start of Bill O'Reilly's downfall wasn't something that took place overnight. It changed into, like watching cracks shape in an unbreakable shape. It's far subtle at the start, however, not possible to ignore. As they spread at the peak of his profession, he changed into a towering figure in television, a person whose voice carried weight and whose presence commanded attention. However, even a person as apparently untouchable as O'Reilly wasn't immune to the consequences of his choices and the transferring dynamics of the media international. For years, Bill had constructed his brand on being the straight speakmanoon's parent, who took on all and sundry, and all people. His fashion changed into ambitious, unapologetic, and regularly conflictation, which drew both admiration and complaint. Earlier than the column became published, did you call me? No? And I didn't promise to name you. You've got my telephone number, and in case you desired to name me, I couldn't care much less. Approximately I failed to know what you had been doing. Visitors have been drawn to his potential to spark debate, but behind the scenes there were whispers of anxiety. The equal self-belief that made him a celebrity on screen sometimes translated into friction off digital camera. There had been murmurs about how he operated backstage, stories that painted an image of a person whose strong character may want to rub humans the wrong way. Because the media landscape started to exchange, so did the expectations of audiences. And to networks, the rise of social media brought a brand new level of scrutiny wherein each phrase and action can be dissected and shared in an on-the-spot. The very platform that helped make bigger O'Reilly's voice now became a device for critics to venture him in actual time. The divide between individuals who cherished him and people who adverse him grew sharper and more. The controversies that had as soon as regarded like mere bumps in the road began to experience like warning symptoms. The tipping point came whilst information of his conduct outdoor the studio began to floor. These weren't just rumors. They have been extreme allegations that caught the eye of the public and media alike, with the bombshell statement from Fox News that their largest big name is out. I made developing reviews of sexual harassment that sparked an advertiser revolt for years. Such stories could have been simpler to brush aside or include, but the world changed into extraordinary now. Actions were gaining momentum. People had been beginning to speak up about things that had lengthily been swept under the rug. It was no longer possible to split the man from his public persona. The cracks inside the facade had been turning into all too visible as greater facts came to mild. It wasn't pretty much the allegations themselves, however. Additionally, how they had been dealt with questions arose approximately responsibility and the culture inside the organizations he turned into associated with for someone who had constructed a career on traumatic responsibility from others. This shift changed into, in particular, jarring the dynamic changed into converting, and the energy he as soon as wielded with such confidence started to waver. Even his staunchest supporters were compelled to grapple with what became going on. Some defended him, pointing to his years of fulfillment and the impact he had wielded. Others started out to distance themselves, cautious of being associated with the growing hurricane. It turned into a precarious situation, one that discovered how quick matters should trade in an industry that thrives on public perception. For O'Reilly, the fallout wasn't simply expert, it changed into deeply personal. The man who had as soon as seemed so untouchable now faced the fact that his actions had results that couldn't be spun away. It became a stark reminder that even the maximum effective figures are not proof against the moving tides of public opinion. And the moment it turns on a pivot, an absolute advantage becomes a lost threat. And the moment it turns on a trail, it becomes harder to track. How would that have been perceived if that same character had been the unsung hero? Accountability, the start of his downfall, wasn't only a single moment, a chain of occasions that chipped away at the inspiration he had spent many years building. Overall crumble of an icon, Bill O'Reilly's general profession fall apart, opened up as he discovered himself on the center of a sequence of proceedings that exposed a side of his tale that could not be unnoticed. The first cracks in his career might have seemed practicable, remote incidents that could be addressed or swept aside. However, as more accusations surfaced, it became clear that this wasn't a small hurricane passing by, it was a full-blown typhoon. The court cases were no longer just whispers of discontent, but detailed allegations from girls who labored with or around him, painting a troubling picture of a place of business lifestyle that enabled misconduct. These ladies accused O'Reilly of inappropriate conduct, harassment, and creating an environment that changed into something. However, one of the instances that got here to light involved Andrea McIssis, a former producer on The O'Reilly Factor. The biggest famous person of Fox News is out. Bill O'Reilly's career